I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this all done in the amount of time that I have, but I just want to go over a couple of things, and I'm going to go over it relatively quickly. See, what we have here, this is New Bedford, Massachusetts, and this is in, I believe it's 1898. And as you can see, the infrastructure of the entire city is already here. It's already built. And this is before power tools. So with no power tools, they've managed to build an entire city. And now that city of New Bedford has over 100,000 people in it. Back then it had less than 10,000 people. And they somehow managed to build it. And they managed to build all the cities and towns across the world, apparently. Sewer systems, everything. So, the narrative we're taught, it's just a little strange, but I'm gonna connect some dots, hopefully, for you, and I just want to go over a couple things. This is Lowell, Massachusetts. As you can see, a canal, the whole city's here. This is in the late 1800s. Founded. Maybe not built, maybe founded. And I'm going to get more into that. And this is Fall River, Massachusetts. With less than 10,000 people in Fall River, Massachusetts, they built a city that now has over 100,000 people in it. And it's all here. All the streets. And this is it. This is it still today. Yeah, there's some new buildings. But a lot of these buildings are still here today. I don't know when exactly they were built, but it was possibly a long time ago, and possibly by a different civilization that was here before the current leadership came and took over, which I will get into in a minute. The Boston Public Library in 1810. Look how beautiful this is. Look at this architecture. The church behind it, the steeple, the wireless technology right here. And we have something up here and back here, the spires. Some type of wireless energy technology. And somehow they want us to believe that these people in horse and carriage built all this. How would they even get all these stones to the work site? Never mind build it all. Never mind build all this stuff at the same time. A lot of these buildings were being erected around the same time. So, and nowadays we can't recreate this stuff. We don't even have the capability. We don't build anything like this. We build completely different. We build way less efficiently, We don't build with longevity in mind. They did. That's different. Boston Public Library, and this is 1842. As you can see, Boston had all kinds of buildings like this. Every city across the world had tons of buildings like this. This is a flyer from September 10th, 1856. And look at this building. Look at it. That architecture it's incredible. They built that with no power tools? Or was there power tools? Was there a different way of building with the past civilization that knew a lot of things? Some say their technology was taken away and then they restarted all the civilizations and they started reintroducing the technology little by little and the inventions little by little. So we'd have, so everything would build up and build up and build up. And it was a couple 100-year plan, 200-300-year plan where, they're eventually going to get us to the AI technology and the digital currency and the total control, total domination over our freedom. This is Boston in 1860. A bustling city, see horse and carriage, but you got to remember there's huge copper roofs on a lot of these buildings, and there's no way to get them up there. We didn't have cranes that went up that high. We had steam cranes that went up 60 feet, but a lot of these buildings, their tops are up hundreds of feet. How do you get it up there? And they got no power tools. You know, and how are they making all these stones perfectly cut with laser precision? You know, and they're building canals, railroads. The railroads are already here. The canals are already here. You know, take a group of 1,000 people and go send them to an area with a huge rock and tell them to build a canal and see how they make out. They're not going to know how to do it. They're going to have no clue. They're not going to be able to do it. It's going to be impossible because they don't have technology. They don't have tools. You need specific technology, specific tools, specific engineering, fundamental engineering knowledge to be able to pull it off. You know, and according to history, we didn't have those things. You know, we were riding around in horse and carriage. How will we even transport in the tons and tons, thousands of tons of material to the job site? You know, by horse and carriage, and then how will we feed in those horses? Don't they need food and water? You know, we're talking thousands of horses, you know? I mean, well, they need 1,000 people to take care of the horses. On top of the people they need to make the buildings. You know, a lot of things, they just don't add up. So this is really what I want to get to. This is the ruins of the Great Fire of Boston, which happened on 11/9/1872, which is interesting because it's 11/9. It's not 9/11, it's 11/9. So this is Boston in ruins, and there was a great fire. Here's another picture of the ruins, but does this look the ruins of a fire? These are all brick buildings. How does a fire that they say started in the basement, it started in the basement, and wait till you see the damage that it caused, you know? But these are brick buildings. So how is the fire even spreading and taking out the whole city? Or a huge, you know, a lot, you know, multiple acres of a city. That's just, it's crazy. These are brick buildings. Brick buildings are going to contain the fire. It's not going to set the whole city on fire. So something tells me that they want to take it all out and rebuild. They probably want to hide some things. There was probably something in here that they needed to hide. And they had no other way to hide it. You know? Sometimes there's ulterior motives. You know, we're talking about fire damage, but and the whole area of the city coming down, but there's these wooden shacks over here, which don't resemble this construction over here at all, but they appear to have survived the fire. You know, so maybe they intentionally, you know, it could have been they just dynamite, whatever. They had done dynamite, just a controlled demolition called a fire. And it's just interesting that in all these places where there's fires, what's burning down? These beautiful structures that are fire resistant. So that doesn't make any sense. And that was Boston, but now we have Chicago. The Great Chicago Fire was a conflagration, maybe, that burned in the American city of Chicago during October 8th to October 10th, 1871. That was a year prior. In Chicago, the fire killed approximately 300 people, destroyed roughly 3.3 square miles of the city, including over 17,000 structures, and left more than 100,000 residents homeless. Insanity. Brick buildings? How? And 1 year before the Great Fire of Boston? In New York's a lot bigger. They couldn't do it with just one fire. They needed 3 fires that rendered extensive damage to New York City in the 18th and 19th centuries. The fire occurred in the middle of an economic boom, covering 17 city blocks, killing 2 people, and destroying hundreds of buildings, with an estimated $20 million of property damage, equivalent to $624 million in 2024. So all that damage and 2 people died. But, you know, huge fire, brick buildings. They're built with brick and stone. There's no way to burn them down. It's not a big fire. It's a big demolition. This is for entertainment purposes only. I'm going to continue this with a part two.